It is the P&P Podcast.
There we go. Took me a second there, so. All right, guys, who's kicking this one off?
I don't know. What are we doing? Welcome. In case you missed me, I'm back. Dave, I know Dave's probably happy. He's nodding his head.
It's episode 3 of the P&P Podcast.
This is how the first one went, Dave. I know I listened to yours and Jeff's, and it was very well done. But this is how it'll go with me and Jeff. I step on Jeff, then Jeff steps on me, and then we're like, oh, you go ahead. Oh, no, you go ahead. And it's just back and forth like that. When you guys did it, it was good. I like to talk a lot. So anyways,
I was going to say, I didn't think that Dave and I had an issue.
No, you didn't.
I didn't think so.
I was very respectful.
I tried to be respectful.
See,
that's what I'm saying.
But that's just it. Like in Jeff and I's episode, at the end of it, he's just like, man, I felt like I was being interviewed. And I'm like, no, Jeff, this is like the Padawan learning from the master. or like, you know what, Jeff? Did you tell a story? Do you have another story left to tell?
I think I might. Damien, where are you?
I am in St. Paul's, Newfoundland, off the east coast of Canada, the most easterly point of North America, way up in the North Atlantic, in Grossmore National Park, which is my home where I grew up. Had to come back, take care of some family things. Back for a couple weeks. Missed a couple episodes. Dave picked up my slack as usual, and I thought today I would be able to clear some time and jump on with you two beautiful human beings and have a chat.
Dave, where are you coming from? I don't want Damien to say it.
Kincardine.
How you say that, Damien? How you say it?
Kincardine. I still don't hear a difference when I say it.
You know, I was really thinking, you know, if Jeff asks him how to say it this time, like my family, my mom was born in Scotland, right? And when she goes back to Scotland for a visit, she comes back and you're like, fuck mom, slow down, I can't understand you. Like you're back to your accent, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh shit, Damien's gonna have his accent back. He's gonna be on here calling me boy and like.
Well, I think some of the some of the slang words have come back, like talking to my kids and stuff, and they're like, what does that mean? You know, just simple little words that I'm saying, and it just comes out now that we're back here. But I don't think my accent's that strong anymore. But hopefully I'm right back to the level 1 again when I leave here.
Say 333,333.
333,333.
Yeah, that was the TikTok going around, and the Irish people are like, bugger up. Like I can't say the words they say because I think we're trying to be PG.
We are trying to be PG.
I am in the outdoor studio, just outside Ocean City, Maryland, in Ocean Pond. So, actually, just had a pair. I told David while you were away there, Damon, a pair of mallards just walked through. The drakes are looking really dirty, but they're very easily trainable. They come and visit the bird feeders here. So,
it's molting.
That's awesome.
Is it molting right now?
You know what? There's a couple that I've noticed across the canal. Like they are having some issues flying, kind of thing. They just don't seem to have the. They still have the primaries, but I think they're kind of in some poor shape, or started to lose some of them.
Mm-hmm.
You seeing many hatches there?
Yeah, not as much more geese than ducks. Well, obviously, or at least to me, the geese are easier to spot for sure. Where I think that tend to think ducks are kind of a little more secluded. Seen a couple little broods of wood duck, a couple mallard. I mean, they'll be having out the pond here at the community. It'll be September, and they'll still be pumping out young ones here. So
It's pretty crazy how quickly they grow. Like, isn't it like 2 weeks after they're, maybe I'm confusing turkeys, but like 2 weeks after they're born, they're starting to try and learn to fly, and they're getting there, aren't they? Like, that's pretty crazy.
It is. I was told, and somebody can correct me, but especially snow geese, it's like 30 days. They got to be flying because things freeze, and they got to, they're heading south kind of thing. They are on a very fast paced.
Yeah.
30 days might not be 100% accurate, but that's what I was told.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And those first 30 days are pretty rough on them, right? Like, everything, like they're swimming in the pond, and a bass is gonna jump up and grab them. Like, it's a rough little world for the first couple weeks.
100%. Or gulls, or what? We got the big herring gulls here, man. They're looking for a free handout for sure.
Yeah.
I was up at my cousin's cabin last night. So sitting on the patio overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, well, the Gulf of St. Lawrence, really, and there's a family group of wood ducks that go not wood ducks, black ducks, sorry, that go swimming by, and I'm trying to get a good picture of them and stuff, but I'm using my phone and I can't. But as I'm zooming in, there's a harbor seal that's behind them. And I'm like, oh, ho, 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 you better stay away from those birds, seal. And he did. They got into it was low tide, so they got in amongst the kelp and stuff, and the seal couldn't get at them. So anyways, it was pretty cool to see.
So I want to jump right into this. That may have been a little too strong. I'm sorry. I probably got a little overmodulated. But Dave, Punisher Waterfowl. If people don't know it, you guys are Punisher Waterfowl, and you have the Union 0430 podcast. I believe I was told that it's going to be bi-weekly instead of weekly.
No, it'll still be weekly.
He's just testing us.
I'm just. How about this? Twice weekly. Twice weekly. That's what I meant to say. I misspoke. And you picked it up, Damien. I'm sorry. Not bi-weekly, but twice weekly.
Well,
that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I think the plan is we'll keep the original, that we're doing with the union, and we've got 3 of our good buddies that join us on that, and which is, we've got a cop, a volunteer firefighter, ex-military, so everybody's schedule is all over the place, so you could get any combination of the 5 of us on the union. And now this is getting part of our weekly uploads onto our YouTube channel and podcast. So yeah, so I guess for fans of anybody Punisher Waterfowl, you get to see mine and Dave's ugly mugs twice a week now, I guess. So yeah, so we're pretty excited about it, and we can't, obviously we're part with you now and doing something like this. So hey, Dave, pretty cool. From when you threw that Hail Mary out to ask Jeff if he'd come on the union to now we're doing a show with him.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
He's gone. He left. Should I put some music in right now?
I don't know what he's doing, but we'll see. We know he's not going to go to a fire because he's still got his. He's
still busted up. I got to wait for him to come back because I want to ask a serious question. But you do have. We can talk about this. You do have a cast of characters. Who are they all?
So on the union with us it's our good friend Mark Vitch, Ryan Bro, and Phil Christian. A bunch of everybody. That's the really cool thing about the union is that everybody has such a different experience level when it comes to hunting birds. A really, really diverse spectrum when it comes to what we're used to, how we set up. It's always funny because when we get together, there's all of us are like, well, this is what I do. Well, this is what I do. So trying to come up with formulate a plan and stuff. And when we're chatting and just trying to pick apart strategies, because we're scattered all across Canada, right? Like Dave is up. Yeah.
That's why that was one of my points I wanted to bring up. That physically, you guys are all very far apart, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, Dave is still. I think I could get to. I don't know. Dave is on the other side of Ontario, which is about 6 hours away from me, right, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I can almost get to, 6 hours away. I'm at the eastern side of the province of Quebec, 6 hours away, right? Like Ontario is so huge. So
Well,
we are very, very drifted apart. Go ahead, Dave.
well, how far away is Jeff from us, right? Like he's not much further than 6 or 7 hours.
I was
Yeah,
just gonna,
so
I was going to bring that point up and say, Damien, like at 6 hours, man, you're going to be pretty close to being in Maryland if you drive south.
yeah, absolutely. So I think when I did the Google Maps, like when we were trying to plan for the fall for me to come down, I think it was like 7.5 hours from door to door.
Yep. Agreed.
So-
Agreed. Yeah, it was agreed. Excuse me. So again, I good.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, Damien, instead of coming up to my place like we do, and me coming up to your place, why don't we just meet at Jeff's?
There you go.
Right? It's the same driving distance.
Well, to go off on a little bit of a segue too, like last year, Damien, when you went to PEI, like I was Canada, like I guess I was shocked it was 14-hour drive for you. I just didn't think, I was like, it's 17 hours for us to get up there, right? And I was thinking, well, it can't be that far for you to go. And you're like, oh, it's 14 hours. Like, holy moly. So
Yeah.
from my perspective, you guys do a great job. Even the physical distance that you all are apart, that, man, you still have like a very strong bond between you all, I think.
Yeah, I think, and Dave can chime in on this after I'm done, but the biggest thing when we started this was that under no and Dave and I made this very, very clear. At no point was a dollar ever going to cause us to lose a friendship. And we made that perfectly clear right from the bat. We're buddies. And listen, like we get on one another's nerves on times, and that's life, right? The important thing is that we know that, listen, we're buddies. We're going to have disagreements. But at the end of the day, we're pals. We hang out. Like I spend a ton of time during the day talking to these guys. So it's easy for us to do a podcast when you're hanging out with your friends.
It's kind of like you see on those TV shows, like how they depict like brothers and siblings, and like they're fighting all the way up to church, and they're like, you just see like a ball of dirt with like fists and legs, and then all of a sudden they get to the church, and the church is like our show starting, because that's church for us, right? And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, everyone's sitting, they're dusted off, and okay, let's go. The thing ends, and it's like, bam, back to that stuff again.
That's awesome. That's a good analogy. I've never thought about that.
Yeah. So I kind of thought of the Simpsons, and that's kind of one of the big things we have on the show. Is like Bart and Lisa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this as I come towards you, and it's your fault.
If you get hit, that's right.
So what is the true idea and thought? How did Punisher Waterfowl form? How about that?
So I guess I guess we'll go back a little bit. So growing up on the North Atlantic, I don't want to say that I hunted every day and it was the most important thing to me in the world, but it was something that my friends and I did, and we enjoyed it, obviously. When I left Newfoundland and I joined the military, well, there was no time for hunting, and I lived in barracks, so I couldn't have a shotgun and all that. There was a bunch of rules and things. But in 2007, I returned home from Afghanistan, and I was missing something. Like I really needed something, so I fell back in love with bird hunting in 2007. Fell back in love with bird hunting. I was in a different part of Canada at the time, so a different variety, and it really kick-started those feelings again. And just to be out, and everybody knows, be out in a duck blind in the morning watching the world come alive is good for the soul. So then I leave New Brunswick and I move back to Ontario, and my buddy and I, who was also a duck hunter, well, we couldn't get any property to hunt. We were in an army town, and most people who owned property, well, they had been screwed over by some army guys in the past, so they had no intentions on letting my buddy Cal and I hunt. So as a joke, I created a Facebook page and pretended to be this big deal. And that's ultimately what it was. It was a trick to get introduced to some local people. And it happened. Like I had business people reaching out to me who wanted to, help me get set up as a business. And I met farmers and I met guides and all this. And I started getting out and getting to do hunts and stuff. But then people started asking me, well, what is it? Like, what do you do? And that's when I'm like, oh shit, the jig is up. Like, I don't do nothing. I'm literally just a Facebook page. I don't offer anything. So I get a logo made. I start slapping it on t-shirts. And then I start selling them, trying to be, become somebody within the waterfowling world. And it just continually grew, and I would hit some obstacles, and then I would rejig. In 2018, I reached out to Dave, asked him if he would like to come on board, because I really needed the help. Like, in my mind, Punisher Waterfowl was just spinning its tires, and it really needed some new blood in there to start giving some ideas. So Dave came in, we started spitballing ideas. I asked him, I was like, what do you think about a podcast? And he said, I think it's a great idea. And that's really, we went from just selling t-shirts to me selling gear out of the basement of my house to me creating my own decoy bags and duffel bags and shell carriers and stuff, to now, if I was to put a name on it, and Dave, you can jump in once I'm done here, but if I would say Punisher Waterfowl is exactly this. We're promoting this camaraderie and trying to educate and put morals into people on how to be a good person, be a duck hunter, and try and preserve this thing that we're doing for as long as possible. If I miss anything, Dave, please correct me.
Yeah, I think what Damien was trying to say at the end there is like, for the first couple of years, Damien and I are like, well, okay, what are we doing with this? What do we want to do with this? And Damien and I both thought of it as like, okay, well, let's do t-shirts, and we'll do this, and we'll do that, and we'll make this camp. And then we had some talks with some other people, and okay, but define that. And that's where it came out, like, give some goals, right? So really our goals and what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate hunters, through the podcast, recruit and help the recruitment of hunters. So that's stuff like we do a bursary kind of thing every year where we have a student that, going through college is tough. So we try to help raise some money for them by letting them design a sweater. We sell the sweater for them, and any profits off that sweater go 100% to them. So we got hunter recruitment, hunter education, and community and camaraderie, right? That's getting our camps together and getting people together, right? Those are our three big things. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Hey, south of the border, what's a sweater?
Buddy.
Okay, I'm just checking, just making sure.
You okay, Dave?
What's that?
You okay?
Oh yeah, just a little bit of. I started physio a couple of days ago, and every now and then I get a little bit of pain.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The camps.
The camps. So
yeah.
Those we aren't the people that invented these camps, but the thing that this is one of the things that Dave has really pushed when it comes to the camps is that our goal is to introduce people that would never have met ordinarily. So by us bringing these people into the camps, it's meeting different people from different areas and different strategies and all this stuff. Like we have chat groups from camps, and now it's like they don't even really talk to Dave and I anymore. They just talk amongst themselves, and they plan hunts and they plan gatherings and stuff. So on the outside, for Dave and I reading these chats, it's awesome because we're achieving our goal of introducing people. But it's really because now not only are they getting together on hunts, but they're starting to become very good friends.
And that's a big part of it too. Like these camps, we're not trying to make money off them. We're trying to have people get together. And then when they get together, well, now it's like, okay, Damien, I'm coming down for a hunt, but on the way, I'm going to stop at this guy's place. And, you know, maybe it'll be 2 days to get to you now because I'm going to stop at a couple guys' houses and hunt with them. And it's kind of neat because now it's become like we call it Team Punisher, but it's almost like a brotherhood of, you got people in almost every single town around Ontario with a duck population or a goose population that's hunting, and they're inviting each other out to hunts and inviting us out to hunts, and they're saying, oh guys, the birds are here now. And it's like, okay, well, let's all go there. Let's, you know, it becomes a bigger thing by reducing. Yeah, it's a great little experience, and that's kind of the big thing.
So specifically, the details. What is? I assume the camp is over a weekend.
Yeah. So we do a weekend camp. Generally, we'll start depending on where the camp is. Like usually, I have to work till noon on the Friday, and I'll take the afternoon off. But then I'm 5-6 hours to drive wherever we're going. But the guys, we'll let them see everything from scouting the night before, hunting in the morning. If there's opportunity, we might do an afternoon hunt. That's all dependent on how the morning went and if there's a availability of like a duck pond versus a goose blind, stuff like that for limits, right? Then that night, some might go do an afternoon hunt, some might go scout again, right? Everyone's involved in every experience, you know, processing the birds, everything. We also make sure like there is a little bit of a bonding camaraderie aspect where people sit by the campfire and have a few drinks. If you start drinking, you're done hunting. That's kind of the big thing, right? Like safety first, making sure all that. Then Sunday morning, everyone will get up, they'll go hunt. After the hunt's over, we'll process birds, take some pictures, slap a few hugs, and then everyone goes back to their places and they continue talking. And that's what we're after, right? That's making sure that everyone had a good time and the camaraderie. Those are the big things for us.
How many camps do you have in a season?
It used to be one. We've tried. It's really hard. The last couple of years, we're like, okay, let's do like 3 or 4 camps, and then that bloody little COVID hit, and it's like, okay, well, let's do no camps. Let's try 1 camp, and then this year we're gonna try 2 this year. You heard it here first, officially. Mm-hmm. We're doing a 2nd camp this year. We're in talks with another guide service that has some property. We're gonna do a 2nd camp this year, and then maybe next year we'll try for 3, and we'll see where it goes from there, right? So
these are just in Ontario
for now. Why, you thinking of something down in Maryland?
I'm just asking you. That's what's the plan?
Yeah. Well, we could probably fit 8 people on your boat, so that's a full camp, right?
Okay.
Well, it's our just duck boat, Punisher Camp 2023.
There you go.
We need PBHQ completed.
Yeah.
And then we'll do it, because that would be a time.
But imagine this: like go out and hunt in the morning, and then in the afternoon do a Jeff Coates Padawan seminar where we get to learn how to make a decoy. Ooh, baby! Yeah.
There is a little bit of a gag order about PBHQ, so I can't really speak much more about it. But
Gotcha.
But yeah. How sorry, a little close there. I bet you loud. What is how did, I guess from a distance, from what I understand, this is you announce the camp and it's first come first serve type thing. Like how does somebody get involved with one of your camps is what I'm really trying to ask.
Yeah, it's always first come first serve. Like unless there's something like other than the guides and like if we need a boat, then that person will be like, okay, we'll get them involved. We have we're limited by the bed space, right? So the bed space kind of dictates how many people we're going to have at the camp. So once we find out the bed space, then we're like, okay, let's make sure we have this next camp coming up is going to be a goose camp. So I'm going to bring my decoy trailer, and we've got another guy with a decoy trailer. So we didn't have to get a guy with decoys, right? But that would have been something to think about. Some camps, it's okay, we're going to be hunting water. We need to make sure we have 3 boats. So we look at getting boats. Okay, that takes up a couple spaces there, right? And then we find out there is no preferred people coming in. Like we 100% first come first serve. The last camp we did, so a couple weeks ago we did the first camp for this year, and it was going to be our co-ed camp. We have a guide service that has a husband and wife, so the wife's going to take out some ladies, and just to make sure that we have everyone that's comfortable and they can, just try it out and see if it works. But the guys' side of it filled out in like 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And nice. The ladies' side of it was, I think it was like 40 minutes, but then as soon as the 40-minute hit, there's like 3 or 4 ladies trying to fill in another spot, and we're just, it's pretty incredible. And that was 8 spots total that sold out, so that's good. This next camp we might do 10 or 12 people. We'll just have to see what we're still working out details.
But that comes down to, Jeff, when we started, like when we done, so the cool thing is that Dave and I met at the very first Punisher camp before Dave was a partner, and it was just me alone. I had organized a camp with a local outfitter in Ontario, and Dave came down, and that's where we actually met. So like that's the cool thing about this idea is like I got a friend and I've got a business partner at the camp, right? So it's amazing when you think about it. But the thing that there's so much more to the camp that people may never realize that the little things that's involved with it, right? Like Dave and I don't execute these camps ourselves. Could we? Yes, 100% we could. We could do all the logistics ourselves, but the goal is to put some money into the local economy. The goal is to give I'll say an amateur guide, but that doesn't mean that they don't have the ability. That's just, it's a side job as opposed to their main living. So we try to throw some money at those guys, let those guys get some exposure, and maybe build on their clientele. So there's so much going on with these camps that not everybody gets to see. We weren't going to do a second camp this year because we really wanted to see how this co-ed camp was going to do, and it's something that the lady hunters up here have been asking for a long time, for us to do a ladies hunt. So we went and did the co-ed thing. But like Dave just said, 30 seconds we had the guys sold out. So, and then people are hammering us, listen, we want in on this camp, maybe you should do another one. And they just kept hitting Dave with messages and asking him. So we were like, okay, so let's do another one. And it has to be first come, first serve. Not that we love everybody, but we want to try and spread it around and not always have the same people show up, because that goes against the goal of the camp. The goal of the camp is to get more and more people meeting and involved and become friends and stuff. So Dave usually will put out a quick teaser. Hey, tomorrow at this time, we're making the announcement. So that's it. It's one day before he'll put out a teaser. And if you want in, you better be monitoring your social media, because it gets filled up pretty quick. So, like Dave said, you heard it here first on the P&P podcast, but there will be a second camp, and I think Dave is going to be making that announcement today, actually.
Right now?
Today's the teaser. Tonight's the teaser.
Oh, tonight's the teaser.
Yeah,
right.
And with that too, like, the last camp there was so Rogers. We don't have cell phone service like you do down in the States. Like, we've got 2 major companies, and then all the other ones kind of like
Piggyback.
They piggyback off of them, right? Like they're all related kind of. Well, the last camp, we're like, oh, tomorrow we're going to start filling it. And then come 5 o'clock, Rogers is down, ATM banking. And so like, we have to take a deposit the first day, right? Just to make sure the spot's filled so that the guide has, okay, it's official here, get your stuff prepped, whatever you need for that, get food and all that stuff. So we take a deposit for that. Well, sure as shit, it goes down. Rogers goes down. Well, that takes away a lot of the banking and all that. So it's like, okay, well, we'll wait till 24 hours. 24 hours rolls by. Okay, we're good. And then, well, all of a sudden my Facebook isn't working. I'm like, oh man, well, we got to do this. So let's just do it on Instagram. And then it sold out in like 30 seconds, but people are on the Facebook and like, oh, well, I didn't get a chance because I don't have Instagram. So I think this time we might try and just do Facebook just to make it even. We're trying to accommodate as many people as we can. We're trying to help, but at time, like, we're a small business. We're not technical wizards either. So yeah, turns out that I just need to restart my phone, turn it off and turn it back on again. And Facebook worked. Wow. So yeah,
How about you come up with some big lottery? So it doesn't have to be necessarily not the first come first serve, but it would how about this would give them, in my opinion, would give the masses a equal chance that everybody, not the speedy one or not the first one to hurt it, but you could really kind of promote it, take a week of getting people signed up, and then kind of do a neat little like lottery drawing, just like
a sticker draw.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I mean, when we do
Powerball.
Yeah. Like that. When the first Tuesday in August here for public lands in Maryland, they have a lottery system for blind sites, and that's what you do. People show up, whatever the county is. They all pull numbers out of a big tin, and whoever got number one, they got the first choice. Number 2, number 3, number 4, that kind of thing. So that might be a neat way of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody in Eastern Ontario that has a bingo machine, please let me know.
Man, you got your number generator right here, man.
No, but we can make a big spectacle out of it if we're pulling out the balls and stuff like that.
That is true. So specifically, I believe I've been to one of the not your camp, but I've been to the property where your camp is held. So it is. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that. I want you to tell everyone about it because I've been there, and it's the kind of thing where like it looks like to me it would be a pretty cool place to hold a camp.
Go for it, Dave.
Which property? The one with Rich?
No, so I think
I'm referring to Long Point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
we've
the other
done
thing we do,
Long Point. Oh, sorry, go Dave.
No, so the other thing we do is we try to geographically we try to move camps around.
Okay.
So we've done Long Point. We're gonna do Lake St. Clair probably next year. It's a little bit more logistically, it's a bit harder to plan that one. But we try to like move them around. So it gives people like different views, and it gives us different opportunities to see what's going on. And also it's not like the same camp every year where we're hunting geese out of the same fields. By moving camps around, we're actually able to give people a different experience, so people want to come and see the different experiences, right? So that's kind of the plan there. But yeah, Long Point, apparently it was amazing. I hurt my back right before Long Point, so I didn't make it to that one. Yeah.
But Jeff, you've been to Long Point, so but for anybody that hasn't been to Long Point, so Long Point is on Lake Erie. So
this is exactly what I was trying to ask.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so Long Point is on Lake Erie. I know the morning that we were lined up to get into the lottery system, we had hunters from Michigan right next to us because of the geographical location is so close. I think an hour away is Niagara Falls. So the American side and the Canadian side, it's just right there. So it's not a long commute for our friends south of the border. But the beauty about Long Point is that it has such a rich history. I'm not going to say it has the same history as, say, the Chesapeake or anywhere in that northeast coast, but it has a huge history because of the numbers of birds that come through there and the amount of research that happens in Long Point. It is phenomenal. So the one thing that I found cool with Long Point is that any day prior to the day that you go hunting, you could go in and you can find out exactly every bird that was, well, provided that everybody reports them, which I'm sure everybody do, but you can find out every bird by day that's shot. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, do people that shoot coots report them?
Well, so we were out and we had a buddy in the boat with me, and he was like, "I'm going to shoot a coot," and I was like, "Please don't shoot a coot, don't." And I just said, "Don't shoot a coot, by accident or whatever." And of course, he ends up shooting a coot by accident, and we have it. Obviously, it's part of our bag. So when you're finished, you had to go back into what they called a unit in Long Point to start saying which birds you shoot, right? And as we're there, a couple of gentlemen from Michigan drive by, and I mean, like, it was instant. One guy stuck his head out the window. Who shot the coot? Like it was like there was a beacon shining on this coot of all the birds. Like, we shot a ruddy duck. We had a really mixed bag of birds that day. But of all the birds, that gentleman from Michigan, the only thing he seen was the coot. And he was like, "Oh, who shot the coot?" So, and of course we ratted Logan out very quickly, so he didn't think it was one of us. But yeah, it's a cool spot. And this year, for one of the camps, we are going to go back to one of our previous guides, just because it's such a neat dynamic to have the husband and wife as guides. It's just a really cool dynamic, and we're seeing it here in Ontario, and I'm sure down in the stateside even more so. But we're seeing a huge increase in the amount of women that's coming out to hunt.
Back to Long Point.
Yeah.
Not to sidestep that one. Back to Long Point. Maybe it's the thing. Just, I always say, everything is relative. But being from Maryland, Chesapeake Bay, maybe I don't, because it's here. Maybe not that I don't appreciate it, but it's not that big of a deal, kind of thing, right?
That's right.
But like, I think there is a lot of history in Long Point there. I mean, that's if for everyone. How many people are listening to us? Do you think?
Oh, there's millions.
They should, if they're bored, Google Long Point Company. Yeah. And that'll take you out to basically to the Millionaires Club, where the story goes that basically, I don't know the group of gentlemen that originally did, but they bought that land from the Queen of England in the 1860s. And I think some of it has been sold off over the years. The property's not quite as big as what it was. But the most interesting story that I know, that I was told, I did have the pleasure, the privilege, the honor to actually go visit the Long Point Company. And I was told, "Jeff, put your camera away. Can't take pictures. Okay, I was just pleased to be there. So basically, the hunters would steam across from England, leave early September. As they came across, they would gather newspaper and bring things with them. They're going to stay there basically until late November, till it freezes or gets close to be freezing. But they would take newspaper, and in the ice house back in the day, they just kept stapling newspaper. And I think it was, I'd have to say, probably the late 90s, they kind of went through and started to, some things needed to be worked on. It's old wood building, that type of thing. And they started carefully tearing off some of this newspaper. And the most interesting thing was, one of the newspapers they found, the headline reads, "Lincoln gives the Gettysburg Address." So I think that just kind of put it into perspective, like, wow, man, there is a lot of history. There's got to be a lot of history there, right? That's to me, I've got a goosebump. That's kind of crazy, I think. So
that is nuts. So just to get my timeline right, because my American history is a little lacking, but
so is mine.
But in relation to time, the amalgamation, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. Whatever. And the Gettysburg Address, like what's the difference in timeline there? Like,
I gotta
you know
look.
what I mean?
I gotta look.
Thank God for Google.
Yeah, man. Oh, but
So
definitely.
as Jeff is doing that, Dave.
Please, thank you.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, we're here Googling what the amalgamation thing is, and
Proclamation.
whatever. You know, I can't think those names, but back then, they're stapling newspapers on. How many people here that might be listening have actually read a newspaper these days?
That's true.
When was the last time you guys read a newspaper? Just go to Google News and be like, oh, what's going on? You know what I mean?
It's been a long time since I've like actually unfolded a newspaper and read one. It's been a while.
This is says November 19th, 1863.
Whoa.
But
1863. Wow. So that's pretty, you know, and I'm assuming, Jeff, the reason why they were putting staple in the newspaper was insulation.
Yes, insulation, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Right? So if anybody was wondering why are they just stapling newspaper, it's for insulation. They get
100%.
their ducks and trying to keep them so that they don't, I guess, decay or rot or thaw out or whatever.
Yeah, but check it out. Long Point Company. There is a lot of history there. I'm looking just to see if I type it in how quickly it pulls up. I'm sure it's the first thing.
So Dave, again, as Jeff is doing this, Dave,
first thing it pulls up.
With regards to the camps, so we're recording right now. It's Tuesday morning on the 19th. This is a big day for us because I believe. Oh yeah, look at that. The 19th is the day that the first light gear comes out, and now today on the 19th you're going to do. Oh, sorry. Did I say that wrong with the first light gear?
First light gear drops today.
Yeah.
So does, I think, the new season of Duck Lore.
It does.
I think you are right on that one.
Yeah, it does. You are correct. So we've got the first light waterfowl lineup dropping today that you can actually order it now. Duck Lore season 2 is dropping today, and Dave is doing the teaser for the second Punisher Waterfowl camp this evening. So Thursday, actually, I don't know. We'll see what Dave says for the teaser because I have absolutely no idea what he's going to say for this teaser. So if you get the chance to listen to this today, because Jeff is very, very quick in editing and getting stuff put out on the net.
Gotta be. You gotta be.
A lot quicker than what Dave and I are. That's for sure.
And tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm still scrolling down. Still scrolling down through. It is the first live Grip It and Sip It. So we'll see.
It's a big day today.
It is a big day.
See if
Jeff, I'm so sorry. I forgot about the Grip It and Sip It there for a second.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. I just hope we don't crash and burn. Karen's going to be a big part of it. And I don't know. Just hope we don't crash and burn. So
I want to touch on this Grip It and Sip It thing a little bit because I just went and I signed up to become a patron.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're very welcome, which was an easy thing to do. But it is a really, really cool, I guess, program, for lack of a better word, that you can join up and then you can get all of the Pitboss waterfowl, all the content. It's all right there. So it was really cool. So I think this Grip It and Sip It, if people are able to get on tonight and join, I'm going to try and get on, join Karen and Jeff. I think you're really going to get an even closer dive deep into Jeff and Karen as a couple, as you know, best friends, as whatever. I think you're going to get it in this Grip It and Sip It. So I think it's going to be a fabulous night, and I think you're going to do amazing at it.
You're very kind. Thank you. I have more questions for you.
Oh, okay.
But the concept with this is, so I love going live. Facebook, Instagram, not as much on YouTube, but definitely Facebook and Instagram. And usually I'm painting. that's. I mean, yesterday I did go live while I was cutting on the bandsaw, but it's loud. It's. I mean, people do watch and they comment, but it's more of when I sit there and paint. First off, I'm sitting there and I'm kind of concentrating, and somebody's saying something, and I said to myself, I was like I think I even said it out loud one time. I was like, man, how cool would it be instead of you typing it to me, like you could ask me, right? You could say, hey, what about this, that, or the other, that kind of thing. So all of a sudden, good friend Bob Owen, Lone Duck Outfitters, Lone Duck Dog Training from upstate New York, says, hey man, like why don't I have to give him credit for the idea. He's like, this is what you need to do. So we've kind of taken Bob's idea and trying to tweak it to fit our own needs, and that's kind of the concept behind it, where it is something. I mean, it is nice. People are always interacting on social media with us, but it's always the kind of thing where it's. I even told Karen the other day. So somebody types something to me, I answer them, but I read and then I'm answering them, but like, are they there? Did they leave? I can't. I don't know. Kind of thing. So it just I guess it sets itself up for maybe some smaller issues face to face, but at the same time, it'll be, if for nothing else, one time it'll be cool to do. So we're gonna give it a shot and see if it works out.
For sure.
So
going back to your lives, you're actually in a trailer.
The carving. Yeah.
I just picked up on that the other day.
That's a Decoy trailer, man.
Dude, I've been sitting here watching pretty much this morning. Like I leave YouTube on, just I'm having trouble sleeping at night, so like I'll wake up and be like, oh, halfway through a show or whatever. 9 times out of 10, it's Jeff Coates in a trailer carving decoys, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what part of his house that is. And then the one time I'm like, you're like, yeah, it's Jeff. I'm in the decoy trailer. I'm like, holy shit, that looks like the inside of my trailer. Like that it blew my mind the other day at 2 a.m. when I woke up.
Back in the day, I used to be big into drag racing, and I had a 1970 Chevelle Super Sport, and I had a 32-foot enclosed car trailer, and like it had all kept all kinds of stuff in it. It served many different purposes. During the season, obviously got the car to the track. Off season, it was a good place to store stuff. It was like kind of a mobile garage, if you will. And where we are right now, I can't really turn the camera around, but I mean, 25 feet, and there's a bulkhead, and there's water. The backyard setbacks are very strict, and I really couldn't put much of a shed up here, and I was just kind of bummed out. I did make a clean room, if you will, inside the garage. That's where I paint. But as far as carving goes, it just became very tight. And I used to do all my carving at my mother's, and my mother now lives with us. So I just trying to be like, how do I go get a shop? Like, what do I go rent something? What? One day we were driving down the Parkway, and these guys have basically had a set off container that they set on the ground. They're doing some home improvement, and they had a roll up garage door in it. And I looked in, and man, they have all their saws. Like, they got this little mini shop set up in this thing. I'm like, man, we need to get a car trailer. That's perfect. It'd be mobile. Some of my ideas are a little grander than what the reality is, but I was thinking, man, take a generator. I could go carve anywhere. Go to Have the Grace Decoy show, set up and start carving. Open the back door up, and I'm carving on the spot. And Karen, she bought in and thought it was a great idea. And so anyway, that's kind of the story of the trailer. It's only 20 feet, but it's a 20-foot enclosed car trailer, and it works out pretty well.
Mine's only 14 foot. Oh. Just every time we're on with Jeff, it's like, yeah. So I've got an 18-foot boat. Well, mine's like, oh, well, how big's your trip? They do it bigger down in Maryland.
Yeah, that's right. Size 17,
yes.
Size 17 flip-flop.
Those are boats, right?
Yeah, those are boats. And Jeff, I did want to sort of go on a tangent here right now.
Do it.
The shirt that you're wearing, is that the special edition Molly's shirt with the thing on the back?
Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it is not. This is not.
Oh.
No, we can't talk about that. It's another thing we can't talk about.
When I come down, we're going to Molly's. We're going to all these restaurants. I'm going into this 20-foot trip. Like, oh my God, it's going to be like.
The 20, I mean, but it depends. The trailer may not be here. Maybe a nice shop, a real shop.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes me to heal and get down there.
Yeah, but truthfully, the trailers worked out really well. It is like yesterday. I opened the door up and it was literally 100 degrees in there, kind of thing. But Cedar Swamp Gun and Decoys, Nick Castellano, he's trying to build a building and it's a very slow process and he wants to carve, so he went and got himself an enclosed car trailer and it's worked out really well. So it's just kind of being a little we'll say thinking outside the box necessarily, but just figuring out a way.
Ingenuity.
Yeah, figuring out a way to do something. So, speaking of decoys, a great segue. The Punisher pack.
Buddy. So I would like to take credit for this. That it was my epiphany to have this. But a good friend of ours, Russie Heron Game Calls up here in Canada, down in Windsor, right across from Detroit. He had mentioned to me, he was like, "Hey man," he was like, you should talk to your buddies at Real Geese about this idea of doing a Punisher pack." And I'm like, this is brilliant. So I talked to Dave and I was like, "Hey, what do you think?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's see what Craig has to say." Craig Mintz from Real Geese. And of course, like everything, we asked Craig and he's like, "I'm in. You guys tell me what you want to do, and I'm in. I'm jumping in head first." So, great relationship, a great company. As close, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but as close to made in the USA as that you can get his products. I just think it's a company that's doing things for the right reasons. And they're a great supporter of Punisher Waterfowl and the Union 0430. Now we have a product, and it's a big flex for us. Like Dave just showed off the box. Like, no big deal. We've got our logo on a box of decoys now. No big deal.
Yep.
Dave?
Oh, I was just gonna say, sorry, I fumbled it when I was trying to lift it up. I forgot I only have one arm.
You got the sling on. Yeah. Where is the Punisher pack available?
So in Canada, our friends, the Heinrichs at Canadian Waterfowl Supply. So for Canadians, it's a direct order from a Canadian site. If you're down in the States, go right to Real Geese, the Real Geese website. If you listen to our podcast with Craig Mintz, you might want to listen to it and see what he said. That's all I can say.
Well, I did listen to it, but I did not do what he said. I went kind of underground. I wanted to be below the radar.
Yeah.
Sounds about right with you.
I'm going to take they will get used. I don't think they're going to get used here in September. It's a possibility, but I don't. At this moment, I'm thinking not. But definitely in October on PEI, and I got to leave. I got to leave a dozen at least with Geoff, so that he can say he has some Punisher pack Real Geese decoys on the island. So
now I'm going to miss PEI even more. So
Karen, if she was listening to you, she'd like to go tomorrow. That's how she feels about it.
I know, but, and we even talked about the event, and that's put on the back burner, and it's probably good because I'm sure Dave would have wanted to come to the event. So we'll postpone it for 2022 and hopefully 2023. But we've got that's got to go under the radar because we can't let Karen know that we're doing the event, because Karen will not allow us to take over her zen moment of
her vacation.
She has her vacation at PEI. So we've got to be stealthy with this, because if Karen thinks that it's going to take over her vacation, she's going to put the brakes on.
Yeah, she wouldn't appreciate that. But PEI is always a great time. Fred West is going to fly up there. He and his wife Mary Beth, so they're going to be there this year. And I think Geoff's going to. And I mean, it's a short drive for Jeff back and forth each day, but the reality is, like, you're up early. He drives out. He likes Karen to have the truck, so he drives out, picks me up. We go to work, not far trips usually to wherever we go, and come back, eat, and sit down in the sun. And I know Jeff gets tired. I get tired, right? he's like, hey, I'll be back this evening. So he goes home, then he falls asleep, and then he's got to drive back, and then maybe there's some alcoholic beverages enjoyed, and then he has to drive back home again. So this year, I know for a good week, he's going to basically stay there at Shaw's too. So that'll kind of add another little ease to it. So, but yeah,
it's such a good time. The food, the company, you even get and even Paulie, like you even dragging Paulie around and
one thing.
Oh, Paulie.
One thing I'm not looking forward to. What's fuel prices right now? You guys experiencing?
I'm at a buck. I think $1.84 a liter. So what's that in gallons? There's 4 liters in a gallon.
I think it's 3.7 actually, but times what? $1 what?
So say $1.90 for PEI.
Hopes. Yeah. Ugh. I love my iPhone. I don't like my calculator on the iPhone. $1.90. 703 at $1.90.
So what are you paying a gallon in gas in Maryland right now?
Ours is coming down. I'm not, the truck's diesel, so I'm not as in tune with gas as much. My diesel's down to $5.29. I saw yesterday. It kind of topped out at $5.99 a gallon. And it has kind of been coming down. I would say I guess the gas is like $4.20, $4.30 a gallon, something like that. But I don't know currently because he hasn't told me. But Jeff was like, with me and diesel, it equates on the island, it was like $10.10 a gallon.
But you got to convert that to American pricing too, don't you? So like $7.
Yeah. Yes.
$7 Canadian is like $5.50 American
for the exchange. And you know what?
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. And I should remember that because I'm always telling Jeff. I always say that's U.S. Whatever my prices are, I said that's U.S.
Yeah.
But yeah, Punisher Waterfowl this summer. Were you guys heading anywhere? Besides the in-season camps, but for the couple months before the season opens, you guys doing anything?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a Grimsby DU show. So that's going to be kind of the big thing. We're going to go down. We're going to set up our little display. We're going to be there for questions. Maybe hand out some stuff. See what people are saying. So that's down in Grimsby on August 19th,
19th and 20th. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be down for that. There's a DU dinner that night as well. So I'm still 50-50 on if I'm going, but Damien will be there for sure. That's I got to see if I get my driver's license back. So nothing related to like drugs or alcohol. They took my driver. They told me I can't drive because of my arm. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good that you added that in because somebody's out there. Oh, he was arrested and he got his driver's license taken away. No, it's going to be a really cool event. Good friends of ours who we've hunted with a bunch of time. Actually, Steve had come down to PEI with us, so you got to meet Steve and hunt with him. He's a hot mess, but he's fun at the same time. So his chapter, which is a really big chapter in Ontario. So they're going to put this off. We're going to come down. We're going to bring a pile of stuff. So from Beretta Canada, Beretta Canada, Vortex Canada, First Light. We're coming down with a pile of stuff. We're going to show off. If Dave comes, he's bringing new canoe. Show that stuff off, and just we're really going to go down there to show off what we support, the companies that we support and that support us, and draw some more attention to them. At the same time, getting to meet a bunch of people that follow us, because it's still taking some getting used to, Dave, that there's people actually that wanna talk to us. Like that's something that we're still giggling about it, that people will actually go out of their way to come and hang out and talk to us. So it's going to be a fun weekend. It'll be a fun trip. And the one thing that's really cool that they're doing is that they're going to have a duck and goose calling competition. Our good friends at Challenger Ammunition is going to be sponsoring some prizes for that. So it's going to be a great weekend. It's not going to be what's that waterfowl festival down by you, Jeff, that I wanted to come to?
Easton.
It's not going to be Easton, but with hope, it can be built into something like Easton. So we're pretty excited about it.
I did check it out. I mean, it looks like it's on a set of fairgrounds of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like a nice place.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be an awesome time. But again, it's the first year, and the outdoor shows aren't as big in Canada. So the hope is that we kickstart that again, especially with everybody coming out of COVID and all that stuff. So hopefully we get it kickstarted and we get a ton of people come through and they dump a pile of money on the vendors and it comes back even bigger and stronger next year.
Very good. You said you were kind of floored or disbelief that somebody would want to talk to you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What about the Toronto Sportsman Show?
That was huge. I remember Dave after it was over, because we're building our numbers, right? We're still a small brand, and we're building our numbers. And I remember after that weekend, Dave telling us how much we grew in our followers and subscribers, and we were just like, this weekend was an amazing success for us. Like such a huge success for us was the Toronto Sportsman Show. And so much so that we're going back next year and it's going to be even bigger. But trust me, that announcement.
I don't think we can talk about that. I don't think we can talk about that.
We can't.
No.
Absolutely we can't.
What month is the show?
March,
copy.
Yeah. So March 2023. Pay attention to our social media.
Who's going to good? No, go.
It kind of coincides with the spring break here for kids, right?
Okay.
They picked that perfectly. That way we can get a lot of youth involvement. So, but that's all we can talk about, really.
That's right.
It'd be really cool if they had like a. Yeah, never mind. I can't even say it.
No, yeah, you can't even say that. I know what you're digging at, but you can't say it. And we don't know Jeff's editing abilities and muting us. He can put the video together and get it up on YouTube quick, but I don't know how much he can cut out. And he maybe got to cut out that Molly's thing that I mentioned earlier anyway. So
if you see a big picture over top of this segment, you know that Jeff edited it. That's my trick.
It'll be like the Scooby-Doo ending, the Scooby-Doo thing. Anyway.
Does anybody have an accurate time?
I think we're at about an hour and 10 minutes. I think we're at about 70 minutes right now.
Copy that. My counter says hour 42.
So before we go,
but that was when you and I jumped on.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, Dave, a bit slower.
Dave,
I just want to know what the plan is going forward with this. Like, are we going to have other guests on? Is that kind of or is it just going to be the three of us talking?
Well, I personally leave it to the audience.
Yeah.
Interact.
Let them decide.
I think that's something that I would like to know. So if you guys want to see us get some guests on, comment down below. Make sure you like and subscribe as well.
100%.
Comment down below what you want to see from this. Like, do you want to just see the three of us talking and drinking coffees, or do you want us to get some guests? Do you want us to get some expert interactions? So let us know.
I would say especially my YouTube account, I will have your guys' YouTube channel and your social media links below. So if you are viewing this on my YouTube, please go down in the description and make sure you follow Punisher Waterfowl, the Union 0430 podcast.
A veteran owned.
There.
I had to throw that in. I am a veteran, and I know all the folks, and they do in Canada too, but down in the States, really, really big supporters of your military. So I had to throw that in, maybe get a couple extra brownie points from you by throwing that in.
It's all good. If my arm was longer, I would grab. I have a Canadian flag, a U.S. flag, and Australian flag are out there. I would grab, but I'm not. My arm is not long enough to grab them. So, are we done? Episode 3?
I think so.
It's a good one.
I'll let you guys. You guys close it. You ended it.
Hey,
Someone
you know what, guys? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for listening. We appreciate every one of you. That is coffee in that cup. I've done mine. I got Tim Hortons. Mountain Dew. There we go.
Diet, dude. No sugar.
Diet Mountain Dew. So, yeah, thank you. Hopefully turn in next week for episode 4. Like we said, tell us down below what you guys want to see, where you want us to go. If there's any topics you guys want, let us know. We are trying to be a little bit more interactive here with this, so let us know. We will see you next week.
As always, thinking of you we are. Boom, boom.
Big love.
It is the P&P Podcast.